reading this morning out of Tim Grover's book, Winning. There's a big difference between what to think versus how to think. What to think is how you compete. How to think, well, that's how you win. And if you think about it, your whole life, you've been told what to think. I wouldn't say taught. It's more so like told what to think. I mean, your parents told you, your teachers told you, all throughout school, new job, society, it's all the shouldas. This is what you should think. This is what you should say. This is what you should wear. This is what you should do. This is the job you should work at. Shoulda, shoulda, shoulda. And we end up shoulda all over our lives. What to think is only going to take you so far. And then no more. How to think. Well, this is a new level, man. This is where you take control of your life. This is where you face the point of no return. Episode 812 of What's Your Problem podcast talks specifically about the point of no return. And the point of no return is when you just get so far out there with relentless effort. I mean, you're frustrated, you're tired, yet you keep going, and you put so much distance between the old you and you haven't reached the shores of the new you. You're kind of in that in-between. Yet it's too far to go back, so you might as well go forward. This is the evolution of how to think. In essence, it's taking and challenging what you think you know up to this point. And you realize, man, there's so much more that I don't know out there. And so you began to push beyond. See, those who live in the life of what to think, they're always going to play within boundaries. But when you push yourself beyond into the uncertainty, into the darkness, because you don't really know what you're doing, and you're taking control of your mind, and you're pushing yourself, even though you don't have instructions in learning how to think, well, you cease living in boundaries, and now you begin to see nothing but opportunities. This is when normal people start saying you're a little loco. You're a little crazy. Some people may even call you a rebel because you're pushing against the status quo. And you may not even answer them verbally. You just answer them in action. And you just say to yourself, no, I just refuse to stay like you. See, those who stay within the realm of what to think, you're forever going to be a victim because you're always waiting to be saved. You're always waiting to be told what to do. You're always waiting for permission. And when adversity and uncertainty kicks in, you turn to others and say, what am I supposed to do? How to think is where you take the reins of your life and you take control. You take everything that you've learned up until now and you begin to add your own flavor, your own zest to it. Think about any recipe that you've come across and you copied it and it was decent, but then and it was good. So you come back the next time and you make it again and again and again, and each time you take the directions of what to think, and in that recipe you start saying, you know, if I do this, if I add a little flavor here, if I use this special seasoning, if I add a little more water, if I try some chicken broth, and you try it, and it pops. It's a whole nother level. See, in the kitchen, that's taking what to think and adding how to think. Taking it out of the kitchen and into your own life and adding flavoring and the zest and your own improvements and experiments, and you just keep trying things. Whole new level, dude. That's how to think. And you can't be stopped. See, what to think is limited. How to think, It's unlimited. Literally, bro, you can't be stopped. You're unstoppable. And it's not that you're not going to hit roadblocks. It's not that you're going to hit ditches. It's not that it's going to be a win every time. It's not. But see, when you take how to think and you hit these stumbling blocks, because you use the power of curiosity and creativity, you just go back to the lab. You say, okay, that didn't work. And you iterate and you evolve and you try a little something different. This is how you wake up with a purpose. It is. So you're no longer living in statements and following instructions of someone else. What worked for someone else is not necessarily, bro, going to work for you. What to think, what worked for them is cool. At least you see what's possible. Adapting it to your life and trying things outside of what's on the blueprint, that's how to think. See, what to think is where you lay blame. You sign up for the courses, you get the degree, you follow the steps, and it doesn't work. What do? You blame. When you're stuck in this victimhood of what to think, you say, man, I did everything you told me to do. It didn't work. See, you're blaming someone else. Yet when you adopt what to think and you adapt how to think, even when it doesn't work, you're like, You take what didn't work, you improve it, you question it, you challenge it, you don't big lip it, and you say, what else do I have? This is where you get resourceful. When you lack the resources, you say, what else do I have here? And you start looking around. Bro, I'm telling you, this is where you'll become unstoppable. This is why creating a process is so key in your life. It's taking what to think and adopting a how to think mentality. And you work a simple process every day, tinkering. The core is the same, yet you make the micro improvements within the steps. See, all of my steps every single day are all the same. They don't change. The steps are the same. What I do within those steps, I'm curious. I'm creative. I try something. Some days it backfires. Other days it works brilliantly. I do this for the podcast. I do this for working out. I do this in sales. Bro, I do it everywhere. I do this with finances. I do all it. I just tinker with it. I'm like, there's so much more out there. And I don't want to be 50, 60, 70, 100 years old and be all crusty and dusty because I'm just rigid in what to think. And so you cap yourself off. You cap your potential. And you think you know it all. That's what to think. You take everything that's already worked or didn't work and you close off. How to think is where you keep the valve open. You're just always, man, it's just something else. Didn't work? Frustrating? Yes. Let's go. And you try something different. That was a game changer for me. When I stopped drinking and cut out all the vices and stopped talking about what I used to do and start showing what I do and built a 6-step process. Nobody taught me the process. I just said, what are the things that bring me in alignment with my future higher self? Wake up at a set time. Write every single day, at least one page. Read, random reading every day, 10 to 15 minutes, usually one chapter. Work out. Share what I've lived and learned. And then design. Not only do I design my day, what I'm going to eat, what I'm going to wear, but also design my life. This is what I see. This is how I develop that unwavering purpose. Today may look bleak. Today may be very hard. Today may be my day in the barrel. But because I have that unwavering purpose and because I'm laced up with curiosity and creativity, bro, I just reiterate. I just evolve. And I'm thinking, and I'm looking at things and saying, how can I think differently about this? Bro, that's a challenge now. But I find every time that I get stuck, I get stuck in life because I have reverted back to what to think, what I think I know, what I think won't work. I assume instead of venturing out there and becoming an assassin and just say, how can I look at this different? If I'm going to go out, I'm going to go out in a blaze. I'm going to go out all chips in. That's different. And that's the thing, man, I want you to be aware of. That's the thing that I want you to push yourself to. I'm in the best shape of my life because I work a process every single day. It cuts out the negotiation. I don't have to negotiate with myself. I don't have to wonder about anything. I just win the decision, go to the next thing. Win the decision, go to the next thing. Do I get pulled by my old life? Yes, absolutely. Do I get down in the dumps? Yes, absolutely. Work the process. Stick to the process. Not going to assume. Just going to win this next box. Get to this mile marker. Check the box. I don't want to depend on anybody else. When I have to depend on others, then I give all of my power to that other person. I have to wait. No, I don't want that. And this is why I talk about the 5 C's. I'm telling you, to be RFA, to be ready for anything, you work within the 5 C's: communication, curiosity, creativity, continuous learning, and action. It's not enough to learn, but you got to apply it. And then confrontation. That way I can handle the adversity, embrace uncertainty, and never settle again. And when I get stuck in this rut, I've reverted to what to think, and I've stopped communicating. I'm no longer communicating with myself and others. I'm not being creative. When I lack resources, I'm talking about what I don't have instead of using lack as leverage. I'm not being curious. I'm living in statements. Oh, this ain't gonna work. Instead of being creative. What would work? Let's try. Why not? What's the worst that can happen? Stop learning. Or I'm not confronting. So it could be one, many, or all of those situations in those 5 C's. Dude, it's a switchback. You know, like on railroads, when they, on the railroad tracks, when they put that handle forward, the track's going this way, and then all of a sudden it goes this way because that handle got pushed forward. That's what it is in our lives. Many times, man, we'll be humming right along. Everything's going great. Switch plate. Life takes us in a different direction. And you hold loosely to it. When you learn how to think and you challenge yourself how to think, it takes a detour and you just take the road with it. And you're like, all right, this sucks, I think. But I'm telling you, dude, some of the worst moments have become the best breakthroughs in my life. Unbelievably rich and rewarding. I thank God for it. I hated it in the moment. So grateful for it in the long run. So when things aren't working for you, man, just stretch out the timeline. That's all you got to do. Just stretch it out a little bit. And say to yourself, how can I think differently about this? Not only how can I think differently, how can I do it differently? It's not that you don't learn from others. It's that you don't lean on others. It's a big difference. Learn from others. See what's possible. Now, that's what to think. How to think is how can I take what they do and improve it and adapt it to my life. So that way I'm independent. I'm powerful. And I'm unstoppable. You embrace this personally and professionally, and you stay creative and curious how to think. That's the only way. Really think about it. The only way you can work in a realm of how to think: communication, curiosity, creativity, continuous learning and action, productive confrontation. Those 5 C's that will equip you to handle the adversity, embrace uncertainty, and never settle again. And I just work a process. Just work a process. Boom, boom, boom. Win the decision. Go to the next one. Win the decision. Go to the next one. End of the day, dust off. Go to bed. Wake up the next day. Let's fucking roll. I'm not here to compete in life. I'm here to win. And the way that I win, the way that you win, is taking what to think and transforming it in how to think and take it to a whole nother level. All right, let's get out of here. Keep it simple. Keep it moving. Never settle. Stay tough. Let's go.